Hello guys, my name is Sean and welcome to my second Ruby tutorial today. And today I wanted to go over some of the basic stuff that we have to know before we get into real programming. So in Ruby we use in order to execute some kind of statement we use this thing called puts. So whatever you type after the puts, the Ruby will execute that thing out into the screen. So for example, I want to put out statement with 5. Okay, so if I hit enter, then it just says 5 and nil. It returns nil. Nil just means that you are done with the code that you wrote. So next thing we could try puts with 1 plus 2. What do you think this will execute? Yes, it will execute 3, right? But what if you wanted to keep that 1 plus 2 out as it is? Then you have to group them as string. So as you can see, we didn't put any quotation mark or nothing, but if you put this quote marks around, then this becomes like a grouped string. So if you type this and hit enter, it will just execute that whole thing that you wrote inside of quote. So instead of executing 3, it showed us 1 plus 2, right? So the next thing we could try would be hello world. And if we hit enter, it says hello world and returns nil. Perfect. So yeah, just remember when you want to execute something out into the screen, you have to type puts and some kind of statement next to it. Okay, so the next thing we have to go over is the difference between integer and a float. So integers are a number whole numbers that we always see in the real life. So for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, -1, -2, or -25 or 0. These are whole numbers and we call this integers. And floats are the decimal numbers. For example, 0.5, 0.8 or 9, 5.6 or whatever. When there's a point and when it's in decimal form, we call that as a float. So you have to know the difference between these two because later on when we are learning about classes, this becomes very important in programming. Okay, so now we know the difference between integer and floats. Let's go into simple arithmetic formulas. So let's write puts, and when I want to add two numbers, I use what? Plus sign, right? So for example, 1.0 plus 5.8, what would that return? So it's, yes, 6.8, right? So when I want to add some numbers, I use plus sign. That's easy. And let's say I want to multiply two numbers. How can I do that? I want to multiply 2 and 3. Yes, you have to use this thing called asterisk sign. It's above your 8, so if you press shift and hit 8 on your number on top on your keyboard, it will show that sign. It's called asterisk, or some people say star sign or whatever. Just type 2 times 3, then it will give us what? 6, right? 6 nil. Perfect. What if I want to subtract? What would I use? Let's say 5 minus 8. What would I use as a minus sign? Yes, minus sign is that, right? Just the dash sign. And just use that, and 5 minus 8 that returns -3. Perfect. What if I want to divide two numbers? What would I use? Like, let's say 8 divided by 4. What would I use? Yes, we use this forward slash sign, and 8 divided by, let's say 8 divided by 4, that gives us 2. Perfect. And forward slash sign is right next to your right shift key, and it should be under the question mark sign, so it's very easy to use. Okay, so since we know all the basic stuff, how about we try some of the harder math? Okay, so since we know all the basic stuff now, how about we try some complex math formulas? So let's put puts. I wanna solve this problem. 5 times parentheses 12 minus 8 closed parentheses plus minus 15. So as you can see, order of operation comes into place, so you have to take care of what first? This parentheses first, right? Yes. And then multiplication, and then subtraction. And let's see if computer will get it. So according to our math skills, this becomes 4. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 minus 15 is what? 5, right? So if I hit enter, it should give us 5. Let's see if we get 5. 5. Perfect. So as you can see, Ruby knows all the order of operation and everything. So sometimes I use it for homework, sometimes for fun. It's very fun language. You will like it. And also, and here's another quick tip for you guys. Instead of puts, we could have used print instead. Print is same thing as puts, but it doesn't include the extra space, extra indentation. So for example, if I type puts, 5, it will say 5 and indent, and next line it says arrow with nil, right? But if I just say print, it just shows us 5, and without indentation it goes straight to the arrow sign and says nil. So just know the difference between those two, that puts include the extra space and print doesn't include extra space. It just starts right after that character. So yeah, I think this should be it for this second tutorial. I will show you guys more cool things with strings on the next tutorial, so please subscribe and leave questions on the comment below. Thanks.